Hello there and good evening. The Prime Minister has made a formal apology in Parliament over the historic forced adoption scandal which devastated thousands of new mothers, including some from the North East. Newborn babies were taken from unmarried mothers and adopted without their consent. One woman from Durham who's taken from her mother soon after she was born. Rachel Bullock reports.
At the heart of government, an apology for a scandal which stretched from the 1940s to the 1970s.
Mr. Speaker, what happened to them and to tens of thousands of mothers, children and families should never have happened. It is a stain on our history. We are deeply and profoundly sorry.
I can't begin to imagine what my birth mother went through.
Helen Phillips from Durham was one of an estimated 185,000 babies forcibly taken from their birth mothers under the state-held belief that only adoption could save them from being raised by an unmarried mother. Her mother was 19. She gave birth at a church-run mother and baby home in Kendal.
She had to stay there. There was money exchanged because it was for her. On the receipts it states that it was for maintenance. It did seem like a business, and this is part of me. And this is what the government did, and this is how it affects people, and it will almost affect people. It's really difficult to talk about.
Like so many others, Helen's birth mother was allowed to care for her newborn for 6 weeks before being forced to hand her over to strangers.
The trauma, and especially for the even younger ones, 15 and 16-year-old children, and how that must have affected them for the rest of their lives.
Helen grew up in a very loving home, but she considers herself lucky. Last year, almost 70 infants were found buried in an unmarked grave in Newcastle. They'd been born at the now demolished Hope Dean Mother and Baby Home in Elsick, but didn't survive. The many more who did live were adopted without consent. And today, campaigners who fought for a state apology went to Westminster to hear it firsthand.
You should not have had to fight so hard for this day to come. But today, finally, I do so on behalf of the state and on behalf of the nation as a whole. We see you, we hear you, and we are truly sorry.
It's bittersweet, really. I did go and trace my birth mother because it was just something that I had to do. That wasn't a great success. Her way of coping with it, I think she just couldn't be reminded of me.
The legacy of a scandal described as immeasurable in its cruelty. Rachel Bullock, ITV News.
A murder investigation is underway after a man was stabbed in Stockton. Emergency services were called to Yarm Lane just before 10 o'clock last night. A 31-year-old man was found with serious injuries and died later in hospital. A 49-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder and remains in custody. Investigations are continuing after 2 people died in a house fire on North Tyneside. A man in his 40s and a woman in her 70s died in the house on Cragside Avenue in North Shields yesterday morning. Another man in his 70s was taken to hospital. The parents of a teenage girl are calling for changes because they say early warning signs of her cancer were misdiagnosed before her death. 19-year-old Amy Hill from Sunderland was told that she had a trapped nerve for 5 months before a tumour was found in her pelvis. The parents want all GPs to be specially trained to spot the red flag symptoms of cancer. Julia Barton reports.
Amy was a beautiful, fun young lady who was she was a normal 17, 18, 19-year-old or wanted to be. She was doing her A-levels when she first noticed the pain. So she went backwards and forwards numerous times to ask for help.
For 5 months, Amy Hill asked doctors about the pain in her leg, her fatigue, weight loss and difficulty sleeping. She was told she had sciatica caused by a trapped nerve.
The day after her 18th birthday, she'd been struggling to walk and she'd been dragging her leg.
And she took ourselves to Tyne hospital, where she was unfortunately diagnosed with obviously a tumour in her pelvis.
The 19-centimetre tumour was Ewing's sarcoma, a rare type of cancer. It was already at stage 4 and had spread to Amy's lungs. Amy never regained the use of her legs and, despite multiple treatments, passed away 15 months later. Her parents have launched the Because of Amy campaign, calling for the government to make training on red flag symptoms of cancer mandatory for all GPs, the training to be formally assessed and regularly updated.
They do a brilliant job, and I can't say that enough, but they really, really need the training so that people can get to the right departments and get the right treatment as soon as possible, because we all know how time is so important, especially in cancer.
Natasha and Philip have launched a petition calling on the government to act. It's already reached more than 10,000 signatures, meaning the government had to respond, saying, "Our national cancer plan will transform cancer care in England, equipping GPs with digital tools to spot and flag concerning symptoms. We have rolled out Jess's rule, which asks GPs to take a fresh eyes approach if, after 3 appointments, they've been unable to offer a patient a substantiated diagnosis."
Is that enough? Does that answer what you're calling for? No. In short terms, no, it's not. Because of Amy, it's starting from the very beginning, meaning that every single GP practice, it will no longer be a lottery who you see and who's had training, up-to-date training on the red flags of cancer. It really will be, you know, that your GP that you are going to see will have had this training.
Since launching the petition, they have been overwhelmed with the number of people who've contacted them with a similar story to Amy's.
When I hear other people's stories, it brings home that this is happening to so very many people. What is driving you to put yourselves through this?
We don't really want the families going through the same sort of thing what we went through. It's really is. It's devastating and it's heartbreaking.
There has to be someone that stands up and says something's got to change. We have the ability to do that. Amy hasn't got that ability anymore. She would have made a difference to the world in one way or another. So now it's up to us to make that legacy for her.
The petition 100,000 signatures by the 1st of November to force the government to debate it in Parliament. Her parents will continue their fight because of Amy. Julia Bartram, ITV News, Sunderland.
Next tonight, on to sport and away from the World Cup. The transfer window is in full swing. First off, Middlesbrough midfielder Hayden Hackney's completed a move to Everton for an initial fee of £17 million. Newcastle's Italian star Sandro Tonali is close to joining Spurs for a fee that could eventually rise to £100 million. And Elliot Anderson, the former Newcastle midfielder, has become the most expensive British player ever. The 23-year-old from Whitley Bay is leaving Nottingham Forest to join Manchester City for £116 million. And a young dancer from Sunderland is preparing to head to the Dance World Cup in Dublin. 10-year-old Vienna Stobbart will travel to Ireland next week with her dance group from SK Dance School, having found out in the run-up to the competition that she's been rated as England's #1 in her category.
So Sophia, my dance teacher, rang my mum, and my mum was absolutely gobsmacked. And then I just found out, and I was really shocked that I've been ranked first in England, and I was really happy.
Congratulations, Vienna, and good luck with the competition. That is all from the late team tonight. Your weather's coming up next with Ross. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.